Hello and welcome to the Listening Post's unboxing channel on YouTube. Today it is with great pride that I'm getting to share some brand new bookshelf speakers from Q Acoustics, the Q5020 bookshelf speakers. This is all part of Q Acoustics' new 5000 series speakers. So much of these speakers is a trickle down from their monstrously expensive high-end floor-standing speakers that are hugely well respected and they sound amazing. But to be able to bring some of those design elements down so quickly into such an affordable range, Q Acoustics should be commended. It is wonderful, absolutely wonderful to see. A departure from their traditional vinyl wrap has also seen an improvement in the fit and finish of the cabinetry, which you will see, as well as frequency response, design elements to ensure cabinet, they've got point-to-point bracing elements in their cabinets, unheard of in a bookshelf speaker of this price point, essentially eliminating any cabinet vibration, even with some of the most prestigious bass notes being reproduced. So it's absolutely stunning to see at any price, let alone in something so affordable. So, let's have a look. Q Acoustics. Their packaging is relatively muted, but you'll see with the size of the box what what we will be expecting inside. The box itself is screen printed with a website address and some basic information on the top. We've got scannable information associated with the model and serial number and what colour these are going to be. They've introduced new wood grains, including a light oak finish and a dark wood grain, or sort of rosewood, as well as a satin white and black. So it's wonderful to see. Screen printing's basic, and as we know, these will be in a rosewood finish. Opening their speakers is very straightforward. They are sellotape closed with clear packing tape, and so opening them is really easy. Again, try when you can avoid running the knife across the top of the box. It just reduces the risk of any potential damage for something unseen underneath. In this instance, it would have been a nick or two of the brochure or something like that, as we see a very comprehensive 5000 series brochure for the whole range, and some information about how to best remove these from the box. And this is a trickle down, of course, from the Q3000 series and others. Basically, don't grab the speaker from the front and back and lift it out. The tweeter could potentially have damage as you're doing that. Grab it from the side. Moving those brochures out for a moment, we see a departure in packaging type as well, and this has to be commended. Q Acoustics are now opting for moulded cardboard in their packaging rather than polystyrene or other very permanent packaging options. Even if you discarded this in landfill, it's going to go away, compared with some of the other things that are, literally an environmental disaster. So it's wonderful to see with their new range they've also invested some time in refreshing their packaging options. Now, wedged in that packaging, we see the two port bungs. For the rear ports, you'll see where those go later. Lifting off that moulded cardboard, it's 100% recyclable. We see the speakers themselves positioned beautifully inside. Lifting those out is relatively easy because there's lots of space between the speakers. The speakers are doubly protected with, doubly protected, and have in the box, I'll just put that off to one side. Okay, there's the bottom. Again, 100% recycled packaging. Now, just having a look at one of these speakers at a time, they've thrown a couple of those desiccant bags in there to ensure that they're kept dry in transit. And each speaker is protected with an additional layer of closed cell foam sort of paper. Putting this one off to one side because they will be the same, and please hang around for the photographs. I'll show these as pairs along with the grills on and off and other things like that. So, Discarding that bubble paper, you see the Q Acoustics logo as a sort of a factory seal. It's impossible to get at the speaker without breaking the seal, and it means that you know if these speakers have ever been unboxed before. Folding that bubble paper over, we get a quick glimpse of the colour, but if I just fold that out of the road for a moment, I want to highlight that it's pre-tapped for speaker mounts and wall mounts, as well as pre-fitting of rubber stoppers for sitting on a cabinet or a shelf or something like that. There's also some new bracketing options pre-tapped in the middle as well. You'll see sort of a seam associated with the wrap veneer, but it's lovely to see that at the back. It's not exposed anywhere else. Rolling it over and discarding the last of the packaging is pretty straightforward. Now the grill is magnetic and is in transit protected to ensure that it will not damage the front with an additional piece of cutaway foam. The grill has a unique shape and is a little bit of a curve to it. And to ensure that that curve is held, we've got a cross hatch in the edges of the grill. And then acoustically transparent material is utilised, positioned away from the drivers and the moving parts to ensure that it's not going to touch it or anything like that, and do its best as far as getting out of the road from some of the frequencies the tweeter will reproduce. The Q Acoustics logo is in the bottom centre and is protected again with some of this foam to ensure that it doesn't rattle or chatter. Now the driver itself is a departure from everything Q Acoustics has done so far. In fact, each of them are a ground-up design. There's new baffling in behind the tweeter, there's all sorts of magnet structure, there's a huge amount of effort made as far as the design. But the most obvious, of course, is this continuous curve design, with no traditional dust cap or something like that. It's meant a lot of R&D has gone into how to adhere a voice coil to the back of the drive unit and keep it working, and it's wonderful to see that they've done such a good job. The drive unit itself is about 5 inches, or sort of 100-125 millimeters in size, and with that has a frequency response down to about 50 Hz and up to about 30 kilohertz with their 1-inch tweeter. It's a silk dome tweeter, and there's a lovely sort of elegance approach to its design as far as the branding. Obviously there's a Q Acoustics logo centre towards the bottom, and we see a two-tone sort of approach to the blacks used, with a satin black matching and mirroring the colour options of the drive unit itself, and then sort of a mirror finish to give a real sense of elegance. There's actually engineering behind this because it's managing reflection off the surface, but there's also an element of design as far as working with some of this point-to-point construction that they use in the cabinet to ensure that it's extremely dead as far as any potential resonance. The cabinet obviously is in their new rosewood. This is almost a walnut finish in our market, but a lovely, lovely colour and texture. It's not very deep, but what this video will never show you is just how well built these are. These are about a 7 kilo speaker. I mean, it's hugely heavy as far as something in this price point. At the back we see the traditional binding posts at the bottom, and these are a 5-way binding post designed to be extremely compact. Should the speaker be sitting up against something, you're not going to lose a whole lot of depth to this big hunk of plastic for the purposes of getting the 5-way binding post to operate. It's a lot more compact, and it's even semi-recessed to ensure that as much space is conserved as possible. With that in mind, they will actually, with the port bung in place, sound really good close up to a wall. It's very easy as far as adding banana plugs or bare wire, and again very compact in its design. The wood grain is emulated on the back, giving it a lovely aesthetic should it be seen from the rear or an angle. There's a Q Acoustics logo, and it's very straightforward with screen printing to identify what's positive and negative in the connections. The port itself is also recessed into the veneer, and I'll be honest, there's no hint of any lack of craftsmanship as far as these things go. Often in cheaper speakers we see tooling marks or cutting marks. Well, there's none involved in this, and the seam and fit and finish of the cabinetry itself is absolutely second to none. Specs wise, these are about 88 dB efficient. They're a 6 ohm speaker, so pretty much easy to drive, and they will suit an amplifier between 25 and about 100 watts. The frequency response, as I said, is down to about 50 Hz and way up into the 30 kHz. So it's wonderful to see such excellent sort of frequency response and controllability in a design that's relatively affordable. So there we have it. Q Acoustics' new bookshelf speaker in their 5000 series, the Q5020 bookshelf speaker, unboxed here at the Listening Post in Christchurch, New Zealand. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more, subscribe to our channel.